Welcome, guys. This is a new webinar from NetPoint, and today we're going to talk about Pfizer wireless access with NetPoint. So today is with you, your server and friend, David Alvarez, and the people sales manager at NetPoint and marketing. And today we're going to talk about from one topic very interesting. The agenda for today is the introduction to fiber to the home versus fiber wireless and the benefits, NetPoint antennas features and capabilities, integration with 5 gigahertz and 6 gigahertz equipment, the compatibility with radio brands and fiber capacity, the case studies and the real world application, and finally, questions and answer sessions. So, thank you for coming, and let's go to start. So, in the first state on the introduction of this live webinar, so the principal issues right now for all the ISPs around the world, it's the interference. But it's not only the interference, the one on the topics or the issues of the challenge of the deployment on the broadband access and the high high speed internet for the end users. Almost almost we need to change the form to make this game more faster, most reliable with NetPoint and and the technologies that you can combine together to get a better results, and the most important, make your business grow. And we are here to help to you to make grow your business with NetPoint. So in the first topic today, we're going to talk with fiber to the home versus fiber wireless access. First, fi, fiber wireless access. So in this case, when we talk about who's better, the fiber, the wireless, so it's a very complicated topic because everything everything as we know in the business of the ISPs, we need to increase the final service, and the most important, we need to increase the high speed internet for the users with low latency, and make the business more intelligent, or more faster to deploy, because in the real life the choice between the fiber to the home and fixed wireless access is not one of the sides of the first all the scenarios. It's announcing the decision to influenced by factors like market density. This is very important. The download and open speeds. And one thing very important for all these speeds, and I always say this is the most important topic, because it the time to market. Because when you have the customer looking for a good service, so you you are not ready to deploy to one area. So the fiber to the home, it's so to densely populated areas, offering high capacity connection, while the fixed wireless access finds the need to handle popular rural regions efficiently, reaching customer over long distance. The gray area is between the required careful consideration and technological choices. Why? Because in this case, when you are to trying to deploy the the fiber, always we use, for example, technologies where you need to make cost effective alternatives, right? You need to find alternatives, and especially in rural unserved areas, because you need to make quiet deployment, compare the light and fiber cables. Another important stuff that this is air. It's these areas where the people still use coaxial cable, more specifically the copper, and you need to get a better low latency comparable to the fiber in so many cases. So if you are if you are considering to use the you are considering to ground your business, you need to see the demand for increase your density, and the most important, get reliable internet. Because when you chose to use the fiber, you are looking bridging the digital divide, but you need to create backups connectivities for the final users, for enterprises, and you need to make temporarily on rapid deployment in so many scenarios. The big issues here is the bit carriers and the ISPs. The bit carriers always have large operations, have difficulties adapting to their end users and their market dynamicing the finance, right? The finance, so I'm sorry, the finance. But what happened? What happened with the ISPs? So in the real world on the ISPs, it says the small ISPs, big ISPs, big enterprise. But the ISPs has a great advantage between the big carriers because the small ISPs or the ISPs every day stay with the customers B2B with the end user, and the most important with that, one the small ISPs knows once the final user wants, and this is the principal idea of this business, because the small ISPs have in this case two things to
Bueno, sí, estás escuchando ahí.
sorry, the ISPs have two principal two principal two principal challenge. The first one is the overconfidential challenge, because the financial challenge, it's whoa, oh my gosh, this is it's very it's very hard for the ways made the investments make the smart investments in all the infrastructure. And one thing more about this challenge is change the ideas about the accessibility and the combination of the technologies. So, but what we gonna do if I want to change the the situation about about to make competitive the market versus the bit carriers? So the role of the wireless here and the pixel wireless and tires in the scene has a game changers, has a providing internet access without the need for expensive last mile fiber deployment. It serves as good temporary solution to overcome delays from fiber to the home deployment and permanent solution in areas where the fiber installation is challenging. So if we combine the the faster deploy or the wireless with the fiber, we can grow more fast our ISPs, and we can make money so very easily. Why very easily? Because you always be there when the final user instead it's is searching a new service. And this is very important because the wireless backhaul have have so many highlights. For example, the access network connecting to the end devices to the network, the core network routing data among various sub networks, and the most important, the backhaul networks connecting the access network to the core networks and vice versa. In this case, the 6 gigahertz they can be the best option for the ISPs because the ISPs have in this moment so many interference in the 5 gigahertz, but the potential to deliver high speed internet and low latency with wireless connectivity, we can change the game because in so many countries around the world, in most specific in the United States, it's open the 6 gigahertz for use for only sensed uses for 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 deployment for internet, and the most important, we have an excellent opportunity to expand the wireless network and meet the ground demand and the bandwidth. For example, in these cases, NetPoint MP6 take the full advantage of these frequencies run, offering unmatched performance and reliable and I'm sorry, reliability reliability for wireless connection backhaul applications. For example, why NetPoint antennas? It's going to be the best choice to combine the fiber to the home, or well, the fiber, most specific the fiber, the backhaul fiber, and create a backup to NetPoint. Well, the first the first thing is NetPoint operates on the frequency range from 4.9 to 6.4 gigahertz band. The antennas offering high gain. And the most important, if you have an antenna with a high gain, you can choose with two types of deployment. For example, the most specific use is to create a backhaul link point to point, where you're gonna make a, a links, for example, a distance or 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers, or maybe 100 kilometers. The net point antennas have size from 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, or maybe 6 feet. And this is very interesting because with the antennas and not when you have the focus on the principal beam, and this focus is to make reliable and achieve a very availability in all the connection. And the most important with this, you can choose if you had so many interference on the 5 gigahertz. Okay, you can deploy the 6 gigahertz antennas and supports the new band and only sense in the spectrum, drive being available in the wireless spectrum for a higher capacity. The option for standard parabolic antennas of the high performance and net point has a great highlight. And this highlight, it's a high gain for extend range and reliable connection, compatibility compatibility with point-to-point links and point-to-point multi-point application. And this is very important. For example, if you have an end user almost 12 kilometers, or maybe 14 kilometers, so you can choose to use a net point with your radio or from your election. For example, if you want to use a rocket AC from Ubiquiti, so you can pair that radio with the antenna, for example, MP1 Gen 2. Or if you have of but you have one customer with the high with a high with high with high specifications, or maybe high requirements, sorry, with high requirements from long distance, and the most important, low latency. So you can pair that antennas with the Mimosa C5 so Mimosa C5C. And this is very interesting because you made very durable your deployment, and you can make a scalable that antenna with the other radios. For example, the family on the NetPoint on the 5 gigahertz point-to-point solution covers so covers the frequencies again. I see you gain the frequencies from 4.9 to 6.4 gigahertz, and you had so many models to solve different cases with different brands radios, and the most important, to protect your investment. For example, uh if you have one area, unsolved area, new for your business, you can you can deploy, for example, the NetPoint MP Gen 2. The model MP Gen 2 is a more basic antenna for NetPoint for to make long link distance, or maybe short link distance, with one great highlight. This highlight is that antenna. But that antenna, this will be to start a new area, and with this antenna, you can choose, for example, make links from distance from 30 kilometers. For example, with the MP1 Gen 2, 50 kilometers with the MP2 Gen 2, and for the most large long distance links, you can choose, for example, for the model MPTR3. That antenna have a gain from 37 dBi, and we can help to make links very strong, and you can get better results with your with so many brands, because in these cases that antenna protect, this is very important, protect your investment, right? This antennas has a great capacity to 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 achieve a better availability, and more important, has a very good noise rejection. And this is that I always want, noise rejection. But for example, if you want to deploy, the in areas, for example, with high performance antennas, you can choose, for example, with the ultra shield antennas for NetPoint, the mobile MPX. That antenna have a radome to get to reach that radome, give to the antenna more deep, and make the signal more reliable. And with that antenna, you can choose to make links in areas with so many interference, and you can achieve very a good signal level. For example, from 55, 54, or maybe 51 dBn on the signal, and this is good. Why? Because you can achieve the the most the mo the most high modulation of your radio, and with that, you can get a better throughput, right? But you can make, for example, with the with these antennas. So with these antennas, you can deploy in very specific areas. For example, in a big cities with interference, you can choose with that antenna for use for government uses, and you can deploy to this antenna to in places where the client it's very extreme in areas when you have presence or snow, with winds. The most important, this antenna made more reliable the signal, and with this you can you can you can have a better results. The most important, this antenna is connectorized. All the net point antennas is connectorized. Only the three sound antennas of the family of the models MP Pro is not connectorized because that antenna is made specifically for the radius from Mimosa, which radius from the Series X. Mimosa C5X, Mimosa B5X, Mimosa B6X, and Mimosa C6X. And with these antennas, the NetPoint MP Pro, you can you can make scalable the antenna, because with this antenna you can use the twin waves adapter, and you can make connectorizing the antenna only with the dual pole, with a single trees, and then you have one antenna for use for any radio that you want. The most important, all of this you can deploy very fast and made very reliable if you need to main mountains and the antenna. So they will be very easy because you only twist the adapter, clean the white guide, for example, clean the connector, and that's all. You can deploy again the antenna, or maybe you can choose to use that antenna in other areas with your Mimosa, or maybe you can use that antenna with the adapter with one customer that they want Cambion, or maybe you prefer to use for Ubiquiti. So this is very interesting. And the other model that we have right now for the more hertz areas, it's the MPTR. The MPTR is an antenna with 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 excellent highlights. The principal highlight of this antenna, it's that you can use that antenna in areas with search to the sea, or maybe in oil deployment, or in the more, or maybe, or in minery, or any places. So, and the most important of that antenna, it's it's great to make the solution very extreme for work in the areas where the humidity and the, how to say, I'm sorry, and get better results in the more hedges areas. That antenna has a cover radome included to make the signal more stronger and give protection to the white guide, or well, the feed horn, to give to the feed horn more protection. And this is very interesting because that antenna have a great lifetime, and you can get better results with that. Because, for example, if you want, for example, achieve a gigabit high speed with NetPoint, you need to choose a high gain antenna. And, for example, the high gains antennas and NetPoint goes to the 34 dBi, 37 dBi, and the 40 dBi. So, and for example, in the 5 gigahertz, we have the gains from 27, 30, 34, 37, and 40. in the size from 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, and 6 foot. And with that, you can you can make to work with multiple radio brands and reducing the vendor locking. So, and in other cases, the gears compatible with NetPoint. For example, if you are a Ubiquiti user, you can use all the NetPoint solutions on 5 gigahertz. For example, with the Air Fiber 5 HD, you can use with the Rocket. We can use with the Rocket Prism, and in the new the, in the new radios from Ubiquiti, you can use, for example, with the Wave MLO5. And this is very interesting because with that radio you can use the radio and make a backup with fiber. And this is very interesting because if you combine the power of the fiber with the antenna link, and then you have two very winner champion. You will be going to a champion because you're going to grow more fast with your solver areas if you have lost connection for the fiber. So you had a backup ready. And one very important thing more, you're going to win more throughput capacity in the deployment. And which other brands it's compatible with the NetPoint? So, well, can be Networks, Mimosa Networks, MicroTit. Yeah, very important. MicroTit. It's compatible too in the point-to-point links with, for example, with the net metals. It's a good combination. Why not? With other radios in the market, for example, Radwin or maybe LiGo Wave. So it's compatible. In the part on the 6 gigahertz, that antennas in the family of the MPCs in the 6 gigahertz antennas, the model compatible so radius is the Cambium APMP 40600C. It's compatible. It's going to be compatible the Ubiquiti Wave MLO6, the Terra BCR8, and the Radwin 2000E. So these radios have have a great prestations or a great highlights. For example, the connection SF plus for fiber for transceivers. This is excellent. And the throughput capacity that you can achieve with this radius, it's around, for example, with Cambium, to 2 gigs. With Ubiquiti, if I remember, I see in the data sheet you can achieve almost 8 gig. It's very closely. It's not the final throughput because all the brands speed about bit throughput you can achieve. So, and this is very interesting because the game is changed. The game is changed now because we have the opportunity to increase the capacity and decrease the latency. And this is very interesting, really. And for example, in the radio bridge here, you can achieve 2 gig, and in the Rebel in 2000E, you're going to achieve two gig. And the most important with this, in the 5 gigahertz right now, you can with the radio wave MLO 5, you're going to achieve almost 5 gig. So this is very interesting. So, and in the other radios, for example, from Mimosa, you can use, for example, the radio C5X, right? With the Mimosa C5X, with the Mimosa C6X, and the Mimosa B5X, and Mimosa have right now other new model, the Mimosa B6X. This radio, it's going to have a capacity up to three gigs. So that's very incredible. But we need to choose the better RAM for the type of deployment that you had. For example, if you are considering to use the 6 gigahertz in the United States, or maybe in other country around the world, if you are looking this like webinar. So for example, in the case of the 6 gigahertz solutions, we have in the stuff right now in flight computers, and the models of 5 gigahertz and the 6 gigahertz ready to to shipping right now. But for example, if you are looking for mega links up to 30 kilometer, up to 30 kilometers. So you can choose for use the NetPoint MP62. The NetPoint MP62, it's an antenna from 2 foot with a dual slant in the connectors and to N to M female, right? And the frequency that you can to work with that antenna, it's from 5.9 to 7.2 gigahertz band. And this is very interesting because you can to you can to choose to use a channel width from 116 megahertz, or maybe use a channel of 40 megahertz, or maybe 80 megahertz. And this is going to be very interesting because you're going to increase your throughput around two 203 200 two sorry 800 megabits, or maybe megs, please. I'm sorry. Or maybe if you chose to use a channel with from 116 megahertz, you can achieve a throughput capacity around 1.5 gig. So this is very interesting. And the most important, that antenna have has a bandwidth from 4 degrees to make very directional, and to get noise rejection from other links around the area. Most specific, the MP62 is for use for point-to-point links and CPE, or end user, and you can choose with that antenna to use, for example, with the Ubiquiti radius from the Air Fiber 5HD, or use with the Cambium APMP 46. And for example, if you have a link from long distance, well, no long distance, maybe medium distance, right? You can choose from the MP6. The MP6 With the MP6 you can make a link up to 50 kilometers with 3 foot and 32 dBi. You can approve that to make a backhaul more stronger, and you can choose pair it with this antenna with the radio Cambium APMP 46. But for example, if you, for example, we going to think in the future, if you have available to you, or you are looking in use between Cambium or maybe Ubiquiti, well, you can choose versus APMP 40600C from Cambium Networks, or use maybe from Ubiquiti Wave MLO6. Right now, we don't have the date for launch around this radio, but I think it's going to be very awesome. The most important of this antenna, it's very reliable. That antenna in 6 gigahertz for NetPoint, it's very reliable. Again, I repeat again, reliable because you can achieve a signal level from 55 to 49 dBi of signal level. Oh, that's incredible because the beam rate on these antennas are very close to increase the seed to make to achieve a signal very strong and achieve the better and get a better modulation from your radios, and then you can create our new deployment with the fiber, and with that you can sell to the end user, and then you can still investing to build all the infrastructure for fiber to to arrive to the final area, or maybe when you're in served area, or with your area that you can update from wireless to fiber to the hub. And this is very 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 really very very i- how to say, this is very important for you because this is a very smart way to make your business ground in the high space, and with that you can finally win to the big carriers, and with that you can choose to use a better signal for your end users, and all the users then going to be very happy to use your service. So, for example, in the family of the 6 gigahertz antennas, we have the antennas from 4 foot and 6 foot too. For example, with 36 dBi, with the model MP64 up to the long, really long distance, up to 100 kilometers. This is very huge. This is very incredible because, yeah, it's very crazy to do, but it sits right now links from more than 100 kilometers. Yeah, in countries without restrictions, with the power, right? With the power of the radio and the antenna. But the most important of that, it's words. It's words right now, and this is will going to the this is going to the future on the fights and the fights that world access right now, because if you chose to make the backhaul links in 6 gigahertz over the 5 gigahertz, the 6 gigahertz you're going to use is only for make the truncals, right? To make all the backup connection, and the 5 gigahertz you going to still using for the CPE or the end user, because in so many areas the user only use, for example, 30 30 megs, or maybe 100 megs, and this is one of the things you can solve with the CPE on the 5 gigahertz. So, or maybe if you have areas where your final user, your end user, is mourning from your station, so you can choose to use, for example, the 5 gigahertz antennas from NetPoint. And the most important is scalable, because if you, for example, going to make migration from Ubiquiti to Mimosa, this is an example. Okay, you can change your CPI from 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 Ubiquiti to Mimosa C5X, how, as I say at the beginning on this like webinar, or maybe you can choose for use with Cambly networks. Anyway, so, and the most bigger antenna and the family on the 6 gigahertz right now, it's the MP6 seats, 16, 16 seats. All right, well, MP MP6 seats with the distance up to 150 kilometers. It's a very long distance, only for crazy links for very near areas. For example, if you are in a places very far in Alaska or maybe in the province of Saskatchewan in Canada, so maybe they can be your antenna for major links, very long links, very large links right now. So the models on NetPoint. One thing very important more about the highlights on the NetPoint antennas. All the NetPoint antennas are very lightweight, and this is very incredible because you need to make more easily for the tower climbers to deploy the product, and the most important, protect the tower from the winds and things like that. Then all these antennas have a radon cover for the snow, for the raining areas, and have to the stiff arm to make the antenna more strong versus the wind. And this is awesome because with that you solve the vibration from the wind, and you're going to have a better signal, more reliable. And one thing more, your radio always going to give you the same throughput in the most hertz areas. So that's the things where not point. It's very impressive in these topics. And right now I'm going to show you a few case studies from Mimosa, from NetPoint, Mimosa, Cambio, and Ubiquiti around the world. For example, this is a first case from 50 miles in a server area in Colombia called La Macarena. So one small ISP with 2,000 customers is not a small ISP. It's an ISP is growing, and he has a very particular areas with the to to transport the service from a big city to small towns, because the first thing is he crossed one jungle, and he don't have so many mountains there in the area. So we have a we ha, he has problems with line sight. This is very interesting, and he solved that problem with the close beam of the NetPoint antenna. So, and he achieved a downlink from five five 594 mix from downlink, and one uplink from 450 megs. So, and the most important of that is he works in the low band, on the 6 GHz band. He used the channel width the channel bandwidth from 80 18 megahertz, and throughput power from 27 dBi, right? This is very important to say. It's in a country without restrictions on the 6 GHz, right? So, but this is very impressed because he achieved a downlink RSSI from 54 dBi. That's incredible. It's a very strong signal for that distance. What distance? Well, a distance of 50 miles. This is very impressive. 50 miles. But the most interesting, he achieved the modulations, or maybe the high modulations from the 18 megahertz from the radio, from the Cambian radio, and this is very interesting. So, and he has a throughput. Let me show you. And he has a throughput very stable. It's because if you see the throughput at him in all the time, it's still in the same wave. It doesn't have so many drop down on the throughput. That throughput he has increased with the antenna, and the most important, he's ready to still running. Yes, because with that, he the my friend Sergio, his name is Sergio deployed the the internet with the NetPoint antenna, and then he began to build the fiber, and this is great. He was very smart to make that, because he only invests in the final user using the marketing of the fiber. Yes, as you know, the machine marketing of the fiber right now is it's very it's very popular. Is the most is the well, it's the it's the topic most used on the on the on the on the industry of the telecom right now, of in the broadcast. So, and he made a great job with that. And one thing very important with NetPoint, if you see, he achieved a good signal, very strong signal. If you see here the chart, of the signal, it's very stable. And one thing more, he achieved a good, very low latency. If you see, it's very similar, very equal to the fiber, the latency. And this is awesome, because the wireless is changed. The f- the f- the how I can remember how the people say the wireless, yes, the wireless is the new fiber, because with the deployment of the antennas on the radios together, you can achieve low latency. And this is very important, because this is from the side one to the side two, from the end user. This is very important, because he made the test from microtip to the other microtip from the antennas, and this is very, very impressive, like, really, really. And one thing more, for example, in long distance net point, this is very important, because we are talking about distance, bit distance, and this is a big deal for the ISPs, because achieve to make very long link distance of, for example, in this case, using the net point MP6 MP6 six six 16 six 16 six. I'm sorry. I can remember how to say that number in English. I'm so sorry. But if that ISP that ISP made a lane list distance around 110 kilometers, and he achieved an excellent signal strong. RSSI is very strong, and he achieved one throughput from 1.4 gig. This is incredible. And the most important, the download quality, or the link liability, 100% of the time. Again, if you want to ground more smart, at that point, they will be your option to achieve a strong signal. And the most important, more than the strong signal, you need to stay more more focus and increase your business. And that focus, it's very important, because with that you can make better decision you can take better decisions about your broadcasting infrastructure. For example, in middle distance, this is was in Colombia too, 21 kilometers. Yes. And again, we have a very strong signal. This is important on that point. With that point, you can achieve a strong signal. 59, 58. Okay, we can be better. Yes. But with that, the user achieve tumbling. Anyone wants more tumbling, right? 180 one sorry 862 megs from down. 862 minutes starting now. What? I'm sorry. And then uplink, you can get, and in uplink you can you the ice piece get 70 41 mix. So this is very incredible. For that, the ISPs the ISPs need more strong signal, and the most important, need to make to ground the business. If you see here, we have the 5 gigahertz antenna with the radio cambium, right? But with this radio, if you see all the case studies include cambium networks, this is not only with cambium networks. You can achieve great results with other brands. I repeat again, with Ubiquiti, with Mimosa, with Microti. In any way, for example, 43 kilometers, again, signal very strong, 54 dBi signal. And the most important, the throughput again, 1 gig, and aggregate 1.5 gig. So we had so many things to do in this business, because it still changes. And the most important, all the wireless all the wireless is staying, is in evolution. And the antennas is not dead. Antennas is more alive in other time, because if you want to, in the antennas never going to be replaced for the fiber, or or maybe this the satellite service from SpaceX. Why not? Anyway, so, and the most important, we are working to create new technology for works in a places without line sight. This is the most powerful of this technology, because in a places when where the final users doesn't have a line sight, you can achieve, if you see, you can achieve connectivity. Maybe not going to be the better signal from in the other case studies, but you have one connection, reliable, and the most important, with a throughput where you were going to start to work in a service area. So this is incredible. For example, this case study made in Mexico, in places from very near to Cancun. And the most important of that, it was made with antennas MP6 and the radio cambium, right? MP6 have the power to focus all the bandwidth, and the most important, the radio from cambium have a technology to to make these types of miracles. I always say that that type of case studies, it's a miracle. but it's possible. If you see all the line side is not available in three times on the in three times on the deployment, one, two, three, but the connection is here. If you are looking at point, we have all the NetPoint stock available in the warehouse on Plighted computers. We are ready to help you and design the future of your network and your business together. So Flighted Computers is a principal supplier for NetPoint in the United States and Latin America. If you want to get in touch with me, right here we have my phone number. I use WhatsApp if you prefer to use, or maybe you can if you prefer to use the email. I want to say thank you so much for attending this webinar. See you the next time.